Keep that to yourself, Jennifer. Hi, everyone. It's me again. And it is me again and my very special friend, my good friend. Oh my gosh, let me just like close one of these windows. Now, the young lady that is joining me today is a friend of mine that I met at a summit, at the Shiro Summit, and we just kind of like hit it off. We got along really well. She has fantastic energy, one of the nicest ladies that I have met in a long time, and her name is Christi Corradi, and she is an intuitive artist, therapist, and a certified, what is that, life mastery consultant.
Yeah.
And Christi Christy has this knack of combining the wisdom of 3 decades in the personal development arena with her creativity and intuition to help people discover and express their own personal masterpiece. And she shares her joy and her enthusiasm for living life in the moment, in the now, to the fullest, exactly as you were uniquely created to do. Now, Christy is the author of Beyond the Box and Creative Thinking Expanded and the Creative Way in 5 Minutes a Day workbook and process. For her clients, she uses her intuitive drawings to help them to receive their own answers for where they are stuck and what they need to do next. And Christy lives in Santa Rosa, California with her family. She's an international traveler and speaker. She leads transformational tours to foreign countries, and Christy is a master, and I can say that proudly. Christy is a master at guiding others to transform their lives in an amazing way through her programs, Mastering the Art of Life.
Yeah.
And you can connect with Christy at masteringtheartoflife.com. You can also connect with her on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Say hello, Christy. Say hi to everyone.
Hi, everyone. And Jennifer, it's so lovely for us to be able to connect and share and laugh together. Thank you.
Listen, let me tell you something. I am sitting here and I'm saying to myself, okay, now I just realized that I think I had a cup of food, a cup of soup or something like that. And I'm not even hungry.
Mm.
And I'm saying to myself, okay, this is good. The more you talk, the less you eat. I can stand to shed a few pounds. And I'm like, okay, then.
Yeah.
All is good. So, Christy, introduce yourself to everyone and tell us what you've been up to and what's new.
So, Christi Corradi, Mastering the Art of Life, live in Santa Rosa, California. And as you said, I help people discover the masterpiece within them and how to bring that into their lives and live their life as the masterpiece they were meant to be. You know, Rumi said that, you know, we could come here and do many, many things, but if we didn't do that was ours to do, it's as if we did nothing. And I know so many people feel empty and void. They don't know what is theirs to do, and yet they have a feeling that there's more to life. And I call them ripe plums, actually. they're like just like bursting, and they know that there's something and they just don't know how to find it. And I just love when I get to help one of those ripe plums really experience the juiciness of
I'm not even,
their master.
listen, I'm not even looking. I'm not looking. Like right now, I sit down and I say to myself, okay, it is a pandemic. Now, people are getting together. But people are infected.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And that was how I got infected. For the past 8 months, I really haven't been in contact with anyone but my family.
Mhm.
And when I visit my mom, it's like at a distance visiting, and we don't touch, we don't interact, anything like that. And I think I went to the supermarket and someone literally brushed up against me.
Mm.
And within 2 days, I was sick.
Mm.
So I like people be like, come a little closer. I'm like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's like there's that old saying, trust in Allah, but tie your camel. It's like, sure, you can trust that camel's going to stay there, but you might as well protect yourself. And, so it's kind of like,
Listen,
stay at home, people, stay at home.
stay at home. Right now, I miss my family and I miss my mom. I miss the kids. I miss my brothers and sisters. And this was the first year that we didn't really have a Thanksgiving
Mm-hmm.
gathering, and I miss that.
Yeah.
And I miss the interaction, and we're very affectionate, and we're always hugging people, and we're always hugging each other. And it's like we always pick up like where we left off at, like what, even if we've seen each other a year ago, 6 months ago, 5 months ago, it's like we just pick up right where we left off at, and we're just always so happy to see each other.
Yeah.
And this is part of mastering life and living in the moment. Now,
I did a painting of I didn't know that's what I was doing. I was just doing an emotive painting, and I painted a picture of the pandemic and of the coronaviruses and things like this. I didn't know as I was doing it that I stood back and I looked at it. And in the midst of it was this beautiful, almost infant-like, beautiful entity inside that was radiating things off. And one of the things that I did right at the beginning of, and this is just my nature that I did at the beginning of the pandemic, is I just, and of course we only thought it was going to be a month or two, but I'm a take the bull by the horns kind of person. I just said, how can I make something out of this? What can I do this? I've done a lot of found art, and it's like, what
do you have a picture of it that you can show us?
Let me, it would only be on my computer.
Oh, okay then. Okay.
So, maybe on my phone, but my boys just took my phone. So, do you have to share screen on this? I know on Zoom you can, but.
Yeah, I can share a screen.
Let me share a screen. Let me see if I can find it quickly here. It should be under art. So anyway, what I did was I took the bull by the horns and I just said, what can I do with this? Just like a piece of found art, found junk, how can I create this and make this into something wonderful? And and that's when I decided I'd been wanting to write this book. And that's when I decided I'm just going to hunker down, write the book. I'm also going to do some deep emotional work. And, it's interesting because I help people find their masterpiece, but I have had a little bit of disjointedness in bringing all of my pieces together as a masterpiece. And so I actually discovered that, and that through the pandemic. So I do have it up on the screen, but I don't know how to share it with you.
Okay. Just hit screen share.
Where does it say that?
Wait a minute. Look at the bottom. Look at the bottom, and you see where it says mute. Cam.
Oh, maybe on there. Okay, I didn't have my screen. Okay. Screen share the work best on a good computer. I guess that's.
You look good. You look rested.
Thank you. Okay, let's see if I share this. I think you're going to get my messy.
Did you paint that yourself, or that was what the impression that you was just releasing that energy and you was just painting it?
Yeah, it was. Are you seeing something now?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I'm hitting share.
Okay. Can't see.
Okay, it says share, but it's not. Let's see, application one, Chrome tablet. Oh, there it is.
Okay. Do
Here
you
we go.
see?
I found it. There we go. Can you see it?
Awesome. I can see it. Oh my
Yeah.
God, this is beautiful.
Yes. This is, and in Scotland, they called her Rona herself, and it's like,
This is
yeah,
actually, wait a minute. This is an act. This is what? What is this? This is
it's a painting
something
on
that you
canvas.
created.
Yes.
Did you create it?
Yes. And it's on 30 by 40, so it's very large canvas. And I just started painting away, and I had a stencil, and I used the stencil, and that made those little pieces that turned out to be the virus. And there's this little energy inside of it that's radiating something, that is radiating some kind of love and joy and energy, right? I don't know if is that making it closer in for you?
Wow, I can see that.
Yeah.
Now, okay, now we're going to discuss your art. Now, we're going to be art critics at least
Okay.
okay, for like 5 minutes right now. Now, with this, is this a womb? Is this a womb that
So this is my own painting, and so I'll interpret it. I will say that when I do my intuitive drawings, I actually draw intuitively from other people's energy, and then they look at it and get their wisdom from it. And so first, even in this, I would love you to see, what is your interpretation? What is your wisdom? What are you getting from this?
Okay. It looks like a womb, and it looks like there's a little, either a fetus or a cocoon. And then at the top, you have like this energy radiating. It looks like energy. I can't say umbilical because there's too many of the energies flowing outward, like this word. Now,
how does it make you feel when you look at it?
When you first look at it, it looked like you're like you're nestled up into like a little, like either like a womb or in a comforting space. And then you can feel, based on the color, it looked like it's radiating energy.
And so then ask this image, and this is what I do when I draw other people's images too. Ask this image, what do you have to teach me right now in this moment? What do you have to, yes, ask this image.
Beautiful image. What do you have to teach me in this moment? And I can see that around I guess, the red perimeter, that the energy is also flowing outward, outward around the perimeter.
So what does it have to teach you in this moment? I'm listening. Say, I'm listening, image.
I'm listening, image, and that we all give off a certain vibration and a certain energy. And whether we're sleeping or awake, we're constantly radiating energy, whether it is positive or negative. And I can see that.
How does that relate to the coronavirus? You just had COVID, right? So, You could be really
Well,
angry at this.
how does it relate to the corona and the COVID?
If it's
Right now with the pandemic, it says rest.
mm-hmm. And what was the first thing people said when it happened? Wow, I've slowed down so much.
They didn't listen. People don't know how to spend time with themselves. Haven't you noticed that?
Yeah. But they
Haven't
did.
you noticed that?
So many people have, though. Not everybody,
Eh,
but many people
People are
have.
restless.
I have a
Many people are restless,
yeah.
but the thing is that whether we are restless or not restless, the COVID is here. You
Mm-hmm,
understand? And I think that God really wants the people to be still.
mm-hmm,
But being that He has given us free will
mm-hmm.
and a choice to choose and a mind to think, He's going to let us think and do what? Exercise our free will. But, you know, He's not going to force us to sit and be still. But even when we're sleeping, God is still working.
Uh-huh. So how does this what is it that we as humans need to learn from this? And I'm going to share something that I think is true right now, and it's key to my work, which is learning and understanding and using universal law.
Mm-hmm.
And that we spend so much time in dealing with the circumstances of life all the time, and thinking that we have to solve things, or that we even could solve things at the level of circumstance, when really it is, going to God, being with the divine,
Mm-hmm.
being that expression of the divine in every word that crosses your lips. The other thing that I see from this is that we have gone into smaller containers. We call them bubbles now, of like people that like my son's home with us now because going to school was an option and no use paying rent, so he's home with us. We're our little bubble, my husband and my son and I. And uh and one of the things, when I asked the coronavirus, what do you have to teach me, is that this is a little controversial, but that we are wounding the earth by by too large of congregant areas, groups, and things.
Oh, yes, I
Yeah,
totally agree.
yeah,
Listen, do you remember when the pandemic first started and the entire country and the entire world was on lockdown,
yeah.
and the planet got a chance to heal, the ozone layer got a chance to heal.
And the waters
The,
became
the
clear, and yes.
like look, even people inside their homes, there wasn't any crime, there wasn't any violence. The earth got a chance to rest.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the same thing. I'm not a farmer or an agriculturer, but it's the same thing, like when you're tilling the land or you're planting certain seeds or you're planting a certain amount of like crop. Okay, you have to rotate where you plant, not just for this season, but for next season. Why? If you plant here and you plow this ground and then you plant here and then you plant here, you have to rotate so that the previous place that was toiled, that it gets a chance to rest, that the earth gets a chance to rest. Now, what is happening now that we are individual beings with a free will and all this other kind of stuff? We don't know how to be still. God wants us to be still, not for a form of punishment, but
No.
so that the planet can rest.
Yes.
If the planet doesn't rest, how are we going to plant food for agriculture? How is the planet going to heal itself
Yeah.
if we don't leave it alone? And we don't know how to spend time alone with the God that is within inside of each and every single person and tap within
Yep.
to be re-energized, to heal,
Mm-hmm.
to be strengthened, just so that our bodies can rest. Like, you ever go to sleep and feel like when you wake up, like, oh my God, I didn't sleep a wink last night?
So it's
And that's
usually my dog or cat have all been wanting up all night long, right?
and listen, and that is what is happening right now. And right now, science is going to have to be our number one priority. Why? Because we need to find organic ways to what recycle what we have been wasting, to turn all of the recycled garbage and the stuff that we throw away, and see if we can turn all those things into energy.
So,
But I'm sorry, honey.
no,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
But we have to turn that into reusable forms of energy. And why? We can't use up all our natural resources. We only have one planet. Not one human being lives in space at this moment in time. You understand? And as much as we try to not get along with each other, this is the only planet that we live on. So we have to accept the diversities and the beauty of it, because that is what it is. But we also have to, not only that, help save ourselves. And how are we going to help save ourselves and the planet and tomorrow for the generations to come if we can't sit still and let the planet heal itself, so that tomorrow and 10 years from now and 20 years from now and 50 years from now and 100 years from now, that we actually have something to sustain us as human beings if we don't do our part.
And I totally agree with that. And I'm also going to say that that is working at, this is a little bit about what I talk about in my book, Beyond the Box, is
Mhm.
we work at trying to fix things at the circumstantial level. In fact, I have a diagram in here if I can pull it up real fast. So so this is really powerful. So give me just a second here here we go. I'm going to show this one. There's several of these, but I'm just going to show this one to kind of help understand this. So this is like us as a human, but it's also a process. So I have to go my right to left, right? So
Mhm.
this represents the factual life. This represents the circumstances. This even represents our wounded earth. This axis, the up and down one that I can't draw, the up and down one, is the truth. This is spiritual law. This is universal law. This is absolute truth. And where we intersect this is our understanding of how things are manifesting right now through us and through our understanding of universal law. This one over here is showing that as we raise our conscious awareness, it will eventually change things in the effect. And it doesn't work the other way. It doesn't work by changing the effect and the circumstances and then trying to get higher. It does require us to have that deeper relationship with the divine. And one of
Mhm.
the ways that I do that with my clients is and for myself, actually, what I do is I'm like, I am the divine in expression. God
Yes.
is omnipotent,
Totally agree.
all present.
Totally agree.
So, what is my thinking process and what are my actions that cause me to move through the world? Is this something the divine would want and thrive through me? So that's why I love creativity. For one thing, it's like creating something that has never been expressed before, right? And it's like being creative. The other thing is that it's it's well, like the only time we are stuck in life or have conflict or challenge is when we are in discord with understanding and believing our wholeness with the divine. And so we can always look to spiritual truth. In my book, there's 12 universal principles in each chapter. Beyond the Box. Yeah. And go to beyondtheboxbook.com, and the paperback is coming out soon, right? It's only on the book right now, or hardcover, but it talks in 12 chapters, and I use art as a metaphor for both for life and spiritual principle. And I talk about, so one of the things that's so important about when we're going through this is thinking about our vibrational frequency. In the book, I show a thermostat in here, and I ask you if this is 0 to 100, where is your thinking on this? When we are thinking that the world is in trouble, guess what we're creating more of through our thoughts? Trouble, exactly. And so one of the things is that I teach is that we have to imagine and hold
the best scenario.
The best scenario. Now, this is a book that I teach from. It's called The Science of Getting Rich. It's by Wallace Wattles. And he writes in here, and people just, whenever I read this, they cringe because they want to have that choice and that volition, which we do, but we want to have right action, right? Okay, so one of the things that he writes in here, and I think this really speaks to our times. Do not, it's a very, it was written in the 20s, right? So it's got a little,
was that written the same time as Napoleon Hill?
This was
around the same time.
It was when there was this great awakening that our thoughts create our experience, and
it's true.
It is true. So he says, do not cast seeking some new thing to do, or some strange, unusual, or remarkable actions to perform as a step towards getting rich. It is probable that your actions, at least for some time to come, will be those you have been performing for some time past, but you are to begin now to perform these actions in a certain way. And that's one of his codes, is a certain way, which is the way of truth, right? And be absolute in your thoughts, which will surely make you rich. If you are engaged in some business and feel that it is not the right one for you, this is not the section I thought it was. Do not wait until you get into the right business before you begin to act. Do not feel discouraged or sit down or lament because you are misplaced. No man was ever so misplaced that he could not find the right place. And it says, hold the vision of yourself in the right business. And it's the same thing about our planet. Hold the vision of our planet in the right place. Vibrate at that frequency, because guess what happens when you vibrate at that frequency? You will affect everyone else's frequency around you. And until we as humans can begin doing that, we will not create lasting change. That's what the Creative Thinking Expanded as a subtitle here is about. It's thinking thoughts you've never thought, but adding the expanded part is adding spiritual principle to it. Truth, absolute truth.
And I think if you can expound on that, it says in the Bible, as a man thinketh, so is he. How you think, your thought process is vital. And we have to, people say that, it's easy it's hard to be positive. No, it's not. Because the same amount of energy that you put into doing something negative, thinking negative, doing negative, being negative, saying negative, is the same amount of energy, probably even less, that it takes to have a positive thought, to do a positive expression, to become positive, and in order to raise the energy level of the planet, we have to do it one person at a time, or at a small group at a time. And I sit down, and I was looking at like people at concerts, and I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, when certain energy, the unison that was taking place when they were singing the same songs and everyone was in unison, I'm like, okay, Then you look at the negativity with the same amount of people. I'm like, it's contagious. Like
Yeah.
positive energy is contagious, negative energy is contagious. What is it in order for us to vibrate at that level where we raise the level of the planet? We have to be rooted and grounded, like really rooted and grounded in what? In the inner man and the God that is within. So
Yeah.
that no matter what happens, you
Mhm.
understand
It's
that.
not, it's not the energy, because we all know that. We all know
Mm,
that. We can, it's just kind of like, I know the right foods to eat and I don't always eat them, right? What
mm,
is it that stops us? It's our awareness. We have to
exactly.
begin paying attention to our thoughts and having the right thoughts, if you will. And I don't mean right as in righteousness or right or wrong. I
No,
mean,
no, no.
like,
Just the
and
right thinking.
yeah, and Emerson or Thoreau, I always forget which one, says, stand guard at the portal of your mind. What that means is, do not let anything cross your mind that you do not want to manifest, right? So if you don't want to manifest a world that needs fixing, don't manifest that. How do we do that at a different level? For something and against nothing. How are we for the planet without being against something?
Do you know what people say to me? What are you against, Jennifer? And I say nothing and nobody. And they're like, what?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm
So
not against anything and I'm not against anyone, but I'm for
yes,
humanity. I'm
yes,
for people. I'm for myself. I'm for the good things, the positive things, and I'm for education. I'm for science.
mhm,
I know what I'm for, but
mhm.
I'm not against anything or anyone. And they'd be like, "Well, how can that happen?" Because how does that happen? Because people have a right to do what? Just be,
Yes,
just like this plant, and then this other plant, it's a totally different plant, but they're just being
they're
plants.
cohabitating together. I'm going to say something that he also says in this book. He says the most laborious work that we do as humans is to know truth regardless of appearance.
Exactly.
Powerful if we can know truth regard. And what do we do? And this book is actually a guide. It's 12 chapters and it guides you through designing, then critiquing what's in the way, and then creating. But it's a guide for how do you do that. And it starts with, you have to start by paying attention to your thoughts. And I even
Mhm.
tell people, program it in your phone. What am I thinking right now? Have a good friend that will say, I had somebody just, it wasn't calling me out because she loves me and supports me. And it's like, uh, because I always am looking for a coach as good as I am. And she's been in my program. She knows it. And she's like, Christi. So it was this idea. We were looking at image of self, right? And I have this image that I don't know how to cook. I don't know how to create healthy food. I don't know how to grocery shop.
Really?
And I remodeled my kitchen. It's the most beautiful kitchen. It's purple. And
Okay.
yes, and it has an island. My sister said that's not a island, that's a continent. And I did that thinking, oh, that would change my ability and desire and things to cook. Well, I was talking to her yesterday and she goes, you know what? I've watched you. Your family eats healthy. You eat mostly proteins and vegetables. You don't go out to eat very often. You don't. And I had to stop my thinking and go, that is so true. I am a healthy eater. Okay, so maybe 20
Aww.
I don't, but I am a healthy eater. And we have to look at the earth and we have to look at, I have this beautiful home with a beautiful backyard. And I have to go, this earth is healthy. We went in June, we went to Sedona.
It is.
Beautiful. This earth is healthy, and it's healthy. And as the divine in expression, I want to take care of it. I want to do my very best.
And that is it. That is it.
Yeah, with my body and my son, we want to take care of it like it's our child or our pet.
Listen, I sit down and I say to myself, as I started to practice self-love and self-care and self-compassion and self-respect and shame resistance, when I started to awaken, I think I was walking in a park. And for some reason, I noticed when I said everything, the plants, the trees, the birds, the smells, the children playing, and God says to me, he said, Jennifer, I created all of this for you.
Yeah.
And I was in, like, my mouth just dropped, like I was like, and then I just stood still and I just started to absorb it. And that's when I realized, Jennifer, you have been so ungrateful.
Well, gratitude is a high vibrational frequency.
Listen, this was
as much as you can. Yes.
Listen, this was what, in 2005, and that was when I was walking to school, and I used to walk to school, and then I cut through Orange Park, and I grew up in that park. Not in the park. I grew up in the neighborhood, but I never really noticed it.
Mm-hmm.
And that day, I could tell you the different shades of the leaves, what it smelled like, what the park looked like. And I'm saying to myself, all of this, all of it, God created for me. Yes. To enjoy, to appreciate, but it is my responsibility to take care of it. Before, in the beginning, when God created Adam and God created man, Adam's only job was to take care of everything. You understand? He already, that was his thing. He was supposed to take care of the garden. When God told man to subdue the earth and have rule and dominion over it, he didn't tell us to subdue the earth and abuse it. Right. There's a difference.
Yes.
There's a difference. And as the intelligent being that we are, if we can just stop sometimes and look at animals and look at how they interact with each other, we can learn from nature. We can learn from people. We can learn from the elderly. We can learn from children. We can learn from anything and everyone, but we have to be still enough to be observant.
Yep.
And I sit down and I say to myself, okay, I'm the caretaker of this planet. It is my responsibility. The animals can't take care of themselves. They can fend for themselves. But it is our responsibility as human beings to treat animals kindly, like to take care of the planet, not just for us, but for our children and for the generation after. Because right now, it'll outlive me and you, but in the process, wouldn't it last a little bit longer? It's like when you get a new car and you wash it, you understand, you clean the house, you do the laundry. It's like anything else. You just have to take care of it. And we are the stewards of the planet. We're the stewards of everything that God has given us, and he wants us to take care of everything that he gives us, no matter what it is. It could be a big item, it could be a small item, it could be family, it could be friends, it could be people, it could be a materialistic thing. He wants us to take care of it.
Yes.
And that's it.
That's it.
You know, and then we get to the point where, okay, like we take our resources for granted, and we can't do that. He's given us a brain. We only use 10%.
Yeah.
What's going on with the other 90%? Like, okay, can that part awaken? Oh my God. I said to myself, like, can you at least awaken another 10% of my brain?
Yes. Well, did you see they said that actually what's happened now is that our heart has developed its own brain system, and now it operates in its own thinking capacity in some
Outside of the
outside of the
separate
brain. And
from.
I've also heard that they're recording that the brain is going out beyond the cranium. You know, it's like, yeah, we can do more. I will say that one of the things I was going to mention earlier too is that one of the reasons also, other than awareness, that it's hard for us to be conscious about the thoughts that we make is that actually 90% of our thoughts are recycled. We learned them from
Oh
someone else.
yes.
And
Oh
so
yes.
it's hard to think for ourselves. And it's exactly what Beyond the Box is about. It's like, we're not talking box out of the box. We're talking, let's go beyond the box. Who made up the box anyway? Right? And so
That is the thing.
it's all about creating your own thinking, your own box. Yeah.
Listen,
Or even beyond the box.
I did a teaching segment where it is take God out of the box and like take yourself out of the box for the reason is that if you look at the universe, look at the planet, look at the diversity of every living thing, great and small, from what is that? Why can't I? Those little tiny things that whale eats. They eat this.
Oh,
They plankton.
yeah.
Okay. Now, if you take a look at the smallest microbe from a plankton to the largest thing that you can imagine, like a mammoth or something like that, we're all connected. Each and every single cell, each and every human being. I sometimes get on the phone and I'm talking to my mom. My mom lives in another state.
Mm.
She lives in another state. And sometimes I'm walking down the street or I'm doing something and I can hear my mom's voice or I can hear my sister's voice and I'm saying to myself, okay, do people realize, are we really realizing how connected humanity is?
Well,
Like,
they should right now, right? With
and that I am my sister's keeper. I am my brother's keeper. I am like, and Jesus has given us like he's only given us one commandment. One in the New Testament, and it is love thy neighbor as I love thyself. You understand? And we sometimes forget to do that, even when our neighbor sometimes is unlovable.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
How do you love the unlovable? How do you release that negative energy and just look beyond their faults and see them for the masterpiece, the beauty, the treasure that they are as a human being and an individual?
Yeah, it is a trick. Here's another thing. This is very archaic. I want to say again.
What do you have?
It's again from the Science of Getting Rich. And because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude. Do not waste time thinking or talking about shortcomings or wrong actions of plutocrats or trust magnates. Their organization of the world has made your opportunity.
Oh, wow,
And all
really?
you get really comes to you because of them. Do not rage against corrupt politicians. If it were not for politicians, we would fall into anarchy and your opportunity would be greatly lessened. God has worked a long time and very patiently to bring us up to where we are in industry and government. And he is going right on with his work. There is not the least doubt that he will do away with plutocrats, trust magnates, captains of industry, and politicians as soon as they can be spared. But in the meantime, behold, they are all very good. Remember that they are all helping to arrange the lines of transmission along your riches, which will come to you, and be grateful for them all. This will bring you into harmonious relationships with the good in everything, and the good in everything will move toward you.
Have you ever listened to any of my teachings where like people are like, why is she always talking about her mom? And I remember at one time, me and my mom, like when I was younger, we were really close. We were real close, and then we became distant. And as we got older, now I can talk to my mom and I can share things with my mom because I've experienced life and I can understand. And I don't judge her, but I think you and her would be good friends because she's such a nice person. She's such a nice person and she's funny. She cracks me up and she's my friend. She's my mom, but she's my friend. And I remember when I had got sick with COVID and me and my mom was talking. And she's like, what's the matter? I'm like, Mommy, it hurts when I pass gas. And she's like, what? I'm like, yes. And she's like, oh my God, you worked around all those sick people and you didn't get the COVID not once. And somebody brushes up against you and all of a sudden, and I'm saying to myself, it's like when you're working with children, when you work with children, like I can be around sick people, wouldn't get sick, wouldn't anything. The minute they sent me to work with in pediatrics, oh my God, the first 2 weeks, I got the cooties, like for
you had to build your immune system there. So I want to know what that has to do with the reading that I just did.
Well, basically, I think there's a comparison because it is all on how you view things.
The good in everything. Yeah.
You have to see the good in listen, it's not easy.
No.
Some people will call it a what is it? The Pollyanna syndrome.
Yep.
I understand
Pollyanna many times. And I'm proud of it.
Girl, don't start. I remember when I was married and my ex-husband at the time, I think that was when we were like really good with each other and we were walking, I was glad for the day off and, to spend some time with him and we're holding hands and we're walking through the park and all I could see was the beauty in everything. And I just kept staring at him and, when you're young and I was just glad to be in his presence. And he's like, Jennifer, take off those rose-colored glasses.
And did you say no? Absolutely not.
And listen, my mood went boom. And then I'm like, why? And then when he started pointing out to me what was actually happening, and I wasn't like seeing anything, I've learned to become aware. I am very aware of my surroundings, but it depends on what you focus. If you focus on negativity, that's all you're going to get.
Yeah.
And if you focus on the positive, that is what you're going to get. Yeah. And I had, and he was always Dr. Killjoy, but neither here nor there. But he's
the ex-husband, so yeah.
Well, that's why he's the ex.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And I sit down and I say to myself, like right now, I'll get in my car and I'll drive to Pennsylvania to see my mom, and just the experience of the drive where I get to look at all the beautiful foliage, and it's not a lot of traffic, like, and I'll pick a certain time and I can just, when I say I could be at bliss just traveling, because I know I'm going to see my family, and I know that I'm going to just spend time with the people that I care with, that I care about, and that I know that loves me. And but just getting there, and I did a teaching called enjoying the journey while you're on your way to your destination.
Yeah, yes, yes, yes.
and a lot of
Absolutely.
and a lot of people don't know how to do that.
No,
A
yeah.
lot of people don't know how to enjoy the journey while you're on your way to the destination. That's like getting on a train and just I remember when me and my mom, when we went to France, and we were was it the Swiss Alp, and we were on the bullet train, and we were on the bullet train, and as we were on the bullet train, we got a chance to view the beautiful mountains.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting there, and she was my travel buddy, my mama. And I sit there and I say to myself, that's like anything in life. No matter what it is in life, learn to enjoy your life and yourself, not to be content, but to find peace and pleasure and enjoyment in the process. And a lot of people don't like to do the process. Everything is a process. And if you can enjoy the process, you'll smile all the time. You'll be a Pollyanna like me and my cuckoo self.
And me.
Okay, well, I'm not, that means I'm not by myself then.
No, I have a client in particular. She calls me Pollyanna, but she keeps coming back to see me, right? No, because it's true. What you think about is what you create more of. And
Mhm.
so and one of the things they talk about, the creative thinking component of this, is like when I travel. I've been to over 35 countries in my life. I love to travel. I love to see new,
Wow.
and it's always like, how can I see this in a new way? How can I experience this in a new way? And I will tell you that in and of itself will help you exponentiate your joy of life. Absolutely.
Now, you have so much wisdom. And I think we should respect our elders and our seniors more, because they, believe it or not, this generation coming up, they have a lot of technology sense, and they have like knowledge. There's a difference. Here it is. Knowledge and wisdom is totally two different things. And I think our parents' generation has the wisdom that we need, and we have the wisdom that the next generation needs, but the next generation has the knowledge that I need, and I have the knowledge that my mom and the parents before me.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
understand?
that's a great perspective, understanding. Yeah. Yeah.
And
There's that song, Louis Armstrong saying, Wonderful World. And it says, uh, we watch, we have our children, we watch them grow. They'll know much more than we'll ever know. And
mhm.
it's something that as a parent, I know that I want for my son. And it is, I do believe that's also another piece of the COVID, actually, is to take the knowledge of not the technology. If you think about the internet and that we can connect now, I think this is just a step that we can't see the next evolution of our becoming. And it's part of it, though, is to learn to connect beyond. Yes, the physical is important, and the hugging and the loving, but there's something more that I think we're also learning through the COVID, something um, beyond the physical form and how we interact and connect with people.
I think so.
Yeah.
I
So,
think so. I I've learned a lot within the COVID. Within, I can say that the past 2 years has been a lesson to me that I'm grateful. I'm very grateful for the experience, and I had to learn that, and I've always known that people have a will of their own, and you cannot, and I say it all the time, God doesn't force his will on people. That's why we have free will. That's why some stay at home and be content during the pandemic, and some are going bananas. Like, what am I supposed to do? But I sit down and I had to learn that whatever God has for me is for me. And not what God has for you or what God has for the next person. And I had to learn, and I learned that, I think I learned that early in life, but I think it was reinforced during the pandemic that I don't want nothing that ain't mine, and I don't want anything that God doesn't give to me. Does that make sense? Because if he gives it to me, that means a gift is a gift. And I've become more grateful even now. I am so grateful now. When I was sick, I'm like, okay, then, if I don't have anything in the world, as long as I have my health and I have sound mind and I'm able to connect with the people that I care about, that is what is important to me. That is my treasure. That is the thing that just like, okay, if I don't get anything else in this life, God has given me an amazing family.
nice.
And I'm thankful for each and every single one of them. For the good days, for the bad days, for the cuckoo days, for the
Yes.
what are you doing, Jennifer days.
Yeah.
and and I think this is what God wants us to do, is to reconnect with the family, reconnect with each other. When a man gets married and has his own wife and kids, that is their family. Even though I may be a sister, I'm still, I'm on the, like,
Periphery.
so,
Yeah. Yeah.
look, I'm on the periphery.
Mm-hmm.
Look. So I had to learn to say that I'm my own family right now,
Mm-hmm.
because my family has families of their own,
And that's about a deeper self-love.
and I had to realize that if it's just me, I'm my own family, and I thank God for that. When that COVID, when I couldn't get up and I didn't. I'm saying to myself, what the heck is going on? My body was doing one thing, my mind was doing one thing, my mom's laughing at me on the phone.
Oh, goodness.
Because I was like really, really, really being silly, but I knew deep in her heart that she cares.
Of course.
And I had to realize that I am my own family, and I had to just say, every breath that I took, grateful for that. Every step that I took.
As
Look,
hearing how it causes your respiratory system, every breath you took was a blessing, right? Yeah, it
look,
really makes you appreciate that, I'm sure.
every step that I took, was grateful for that. I went to the bathroom, grateful that my bowels and my intestines and everything was still functioning. Because at one point, at first I thought, I'm like, am I constipated?
Mm.
But then when the body ache and the muscle aches and the chills and the sweats and everything else, I'm saying to myself, then I looked at the symptoms. I'm like, oh my God. Then the loss of appetite. Now, if I make it through this pandemic,
When you make it to this
no,
pandemic,
I'll make it. I'll
Yes.
make it. I'll make it. I wonder what kind of. I'll make it. I'll make it. I'll
This
make
has
it.
been a gift for you. And if you haven't discovered all of it, I know a friend of mine in New York got the COVID right at the beginning. And she is now going to write a book because it was a spiritual transformation for her.
It is.
Another friend who I would expect a spiritual transformation, it hasn't worked out so great. She's got a lot of the long-term effects, but it's like, what is the gift in every single thing, in everything that we do?
And then I had to say to myself, like, okay, what am I learning from COVID and from the pandemic right now? And I think the most thing that I've learned is a deeper sense of gratitude.
Nice.
When I say deep, like I remember when I got clean and then my life changed and I was restored back to my family. But then God, like, okay, don't lean on them so much. Okay, I need you to stand. So then I had to spend time with me. And then I'm saying to myself, like, what am I learning from this? And I learned that I'm enough.
Yep. And by our nature, we are divine.
I am enough. I am divine. And that life is good. Even the things that we take for granted, the people that we take for granted, even when we're cranky, and I sit down and I say to myself, okay, then.
Even like it says in here, even the people that you don't, that you feel are your enemies. It's like, be grateful to them all. This will bring you into harmonious relationships with the good in everything, and the good in everything will move toward you.
And I sit down and I'm just like, okay, then I'm cool with it. I'm cool with me. I'm cool with you. I'm like, I'm cool.
That'd be cool.
I'm like, okay, I'm cool. I'm cool. I'm cool. Like, but I know that there is an evolution that is taking place, like right now within inside of me, like really. And I've experienced some things. Oh my God, I've experienced fraud, and I got robbed. Did I tell you that?
I didn't hear that one.
Girl, and I'm saying to myself, okay, and then I had to release it. Like once I realized what happened, they called I didn't call the police. My landlord called the police, and then I filled out the police report and everything. And then I had two choices. I could either be upset, go on a rampage about it, or just release it and just sow it into them as a seed of blessing. And I'm saying to myself, okay, then just release that because
yeah, you choose. And see, that's the good thing about having choice, is even though we sometimes make the wrong choice, the truth is that we can come around to making the choices that are best for us and in harmony with the universal laws. That's the beauty of having volition, of being able to choose.
And that is the thing, and that's the name of my company, Choices Life Coaching.
Yeah.
We make choices. Do you know, from the time we wake up until we go to sleep, do you know how many choices we make on a day-to-day basis?
Oh, how
like
many?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, a lot. Yes. I thought maybe you had a number for that. Like,
I wish I did. I wish I did, but I don't have the brain of Bill Gates, but I like Bill Gates. I really have a lot of admiration for him because his brain is the computer, and I wish, like, okay, like, can you just turn on the other part of my brain so that I can like
Well,
compartmentalize.
that's not your genius, and that's why you
But
have
it's
a team. That's
not.
why you
It's
have a team of
not.
people to handle those things, right?
Believe it or not, it's not. I'm more of a heart soul kind of
Yeah,
person.
yeah, me too. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm saying to myself, like, I could admire someone else's gift, but, and I can enjoy it, but I've learned not to be envious of anything or anyone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, my part of my life design for my, which is like a vision for my life, is that I have a wonderful team who their passion is supported by my needs.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. And I have
That's
like my
something.
assistant Nava. I would not even be in business without her, and it's like I don't even know what that is. I can say to her, I don't know how to do that. That's your thing to do. I was on with Rhonda today. I was doing a session with Rhonda live today, and
Hmm.
um, and we were talking about Facebook and algorithms for some reason. I just said algorithms, whatever it is.
I didn't even know what an algorithm was.
I know kind of what it is, but I don't want to know. I don't, and it's like, I want to stay in my genius, which is loving, supporting, serving people and helping people really those ripe plums to discover what's within them that's wanting to burst out. So, yeah.
I think my thing is, well, I tried. I really did. And God doesn't want me there. So I'm like, I ain't sweating. Listen,
Try hard.
I I I want to draw out the excellence that is within each and every human being.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And that is my number one priority right now.
That's my masterpiece. It's my metaphor for that.
That is my number one priority, is to draw out and to unleash the best of that individual.
Mhm.
And that is within my coaching clients, within my workshop, and like I really want them to evolve and grow and bloom and blossom and just like radiate, like just to their
Yep.
fullest potential, and to be the best of themselves. And even if I was in a relationship, I would want the same for my mate,
Yeah.
for my children. I think I just want the best for people.
That's it. Yes. And that best is their true nature.
It is.
And
It
it's
is.
and that's what I was saying. The only time we are stuck is when we are not living in our true nature. The only reason we're ever not happy is because we're not living in our own true nature.
That
Yeah,
and that is the thing. And that is the thing. And I had to just like, okay, then what is the next thing? When I get to that, when I'm vibrating at that level, whatever level that is, when I'm vibrating at that level, that will be what it is that comes into my life. And I've noticed that when I'm at a certain level, I'm dealing with like either certain situations or certain type of people or certain type of situations. And then as I move from one level to the next level, to the next level, to the next level, and all of these are all different facets of my own personality. Does that make sense? Because now I had to find different coping mechanisms. And so now I just sit back and I just try not to be anxious for anything. But because that's why I have to hurry up and buy my own house for real.
Can I show you something about the levels of consciousness? This is
Yes.
This is a really great. I have to remember how did I do that again? Okay, there we go. This is one. You can find different charts, right? Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the levels of consciousness, and you can see down here that we have guilt and shame and apathy and greed, and you can see this is out of your zone. You're stuck in your negative emotion.
Yeah, but I'm not there. Look, I'm not there. I am nowhere there.
I know.
But listen, I've spent years there. I know where that is.
Look at what changes, between pride and courage. That's like the transition there. This is more for your clients than it is for you. We know where you are. But look at up here where gratitude is. Gratitude at this frequency with joy and love. This is the highest level right here is joy, gratitude, and love. And this is where you have synchronicity and extraordinary outcomes, right? That's exactly why it's what you're talking about.
I think I spend a lot of my time in the joy and gratitude and the love area because it's peaceful.
And you saw peace was right at the very tip of that. Yeah.
It is peaceful, but I've spent so many years in the guilt area, the fear area, the shame area, the condemnation area. And like, I know what that feels like. And the minute I feel it, or the minute that I'm like, okay, just shake it off, Jennifer, shift my thinking, find, I will, if I feel something, I will stand up immediately just to like change the energy, because I like me.
Yeah.
Do that make sense?
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
I like me and I like feeling good.
Yeah. I've got the joy down in my heart.
and I like that feeling. And the minute I get that negativity,
yeah,
I'm like, ooh,
yeah.
Ooh, ooh,
and
ooh,
you
ooh,
can
ooh,
shift
ooh.
it. Yeah, you can shift it by, you don't even have to shift the problem, the circumstance. You just go into gratitude. Just go into gratitude. Yeah. My son, when he was 16 and he was driving and he'd get to drive our car, he backed out. He had to go run an errand for us, so he was a little snooty about it. And next thing I hear a crash out in front of our house, right? Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I hear the car pull back in, and I see him come running in, and he's just like furious. And I've used this thermostat thing forever. And I said, okay, honey, where's your thinking right now? And this chart goes from 0 to 100, right? He goes -20, you know. And this is how it works. This is so key to how this works. So I said, what are you willing to have it be? And usually I encourage people to be 60, 70, 80, somewhere around there, right? He said 40. And I said, well, -20 to 40, that's a good in the right direction. And I said, okay, so now at that level of thinking, what's a new thought? What is a new way you can look at this situation? He says, first he says, well, they shouldn't have parked in front of our house. It was a parked car and it crashed, right? And then I said, okay, and what else? What's a 40% or higher thought? And he looked at me for the answer, and I'm like, I don't have your answers. And all of a sudden he goes, oh, I got it. I'll learn from my mistakes.
Exactly.
And
And
now
you can also learn from other people's mistakes as well.
Well, and from that level, he could make new decisions about how to approach. If he would have been at the -20, he would have gone across the house to the people and yelled at them for parking in front of our house when it was really his fault. I mean, it's a parked car, right? You don't run into parked cars. But instead, he stopped, he paused, and he changed his vibrational frequency. And this is what Einstein said, where the problem cannot be solved at the level it was created, right?
Exactly.
So gratitude is a place that can take us to a higher frequency so that we can say, now at this level of gratitude, how can I look at that low vibrational thought? And that's in the book too.
Oh my, Christi, you have to come back. Like, come back often so that we can have like because like right now I have to end this at some point because it's 1:30. But I think I would like to have you back as a regular guest. Okay. Because you have so much wisdom, like so much wisdom. And all the knowledge and information that you have, you can't share it in one setting.
No. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, this has been lovely. I've really loved spending time with you.
I like talking to you. I really do. And I think now, because now I'm like, okay, then I, as a life coach, it is so different when you're coaching other people, but I also need a coach to, like, I have a business coach because I need to learn how to do business. But I think I also need to get a third coach, and that would be another coach as a life coach to get me to where it is that I want to be. People say like there were who was that? I think I was listening. Who was she? I was it Lisa Nichols, and she is a life coach.
Mhm.
And at one point, she says, in order for her to expand in the business and the way that she was expanding to have the success that she was having, at that time she had 5 life coaches.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how and you need that a
Yes.
lot. You always need that. If I'm here, and I'm trying to get here, I need somebody that is here to help me to get here. And
Yeah.
if I'm coaching someone, if I'm always pouring into someone and giving into someone, like like, should I say feeding? But I'm like,
Well,
you're emptying.
it's like your
You're the
butt,
vessel. You're the vessel, and you're all and
you're
in order.
taking it out all the time. Yeah.
Right.
You've got
So
to,
as I empty myself, I need someone to pour into me, like so that my cup can, well, so that my cup or my tank or my tanker reservoir, whatever. You can think this small, think this big, whatever. Like this, so that I'm always full
Mhm.
to overflowing.
So important. Absolutely.
Do you see that painting that you had that you showed me? Did you see all of the excess that was seeping out, the excess energy that was coming, even though the
Correct.
the COVID or fetus, the
Yeah.
cell, whatever, even though it was sleeping,
Yeah.
while it was sleeping, it was still overflowing, and it was like, it was radiating this way, it was radiating this way, it was radiating this way. And I think that most life coaches, believe it or not, they have life coaches.
Yes.
And in order for them to grow, they need that.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
How long have you been coaching?
So I've been working in the personal development arena for 30 years.
Really?
I have taught kids a lot.
Let me
I
see something.
ran youth programs for teens, for empowerment programs and things. As far as becoming a coach, actually, it's around 2006, I think, something like that. But I've been teaching in this arena. I just found this avenue.
Well, okay. So you were a life coach before life coaching became popular?
I don't know.
Or was it just personal development?
Personal,
There's a
yeah.
difference?
Well, I actually became an art therapist, and
Oh,
one of
really?
yeah, and one of my clients though one time said, "This isn't therapy. This is coaching." And I didn't even know what coaching was. And so I went and I looked into it and I went, she's right. Because the way I see therapy versus being a coach is that therapy is regressive. You have to deal with the past and you have to
Exactly.
go back and retrace that. And coaching is starting where you're at now and moving forward. Now, it doesn't mean you don't revisit some of that, but you don't revisit it in the way that it reactivates it and it's like,
Exactly.
so it's really about moving forward. And so then at that point, I mean, I've been helping teens, I've been helping people for like I said, for 30 years. And
What type of people do you work with? Like, what is your age range? Or
the whole avatar thing is really difficult for me because
Why?
why? Because I feel like there are two. So what I do, I work with people who are feeling like there's more to life and they don't know how to find it. Whether they're at this level and they're going, okay, so what are the next steps for me? Or if I work at this level, I work with young moms whose kids have gone off to school and they're like going, oh, now who am I? I forgot who I am and what I'm doing. I
Yes.
work with women that are wanting to retire, but they think there's no way to retire. I work with people that are in banking jobs that are like going, there's got to be more to life than this. Now, how do you put that into an avatar? Okay. And I was telling somebody the other day, that I think I should make a contest where if somebody can come up with my avatar, I will pay them $1,000 because it's just like, are you stuck? Are you longing for more in your life? That's my client, is somebody who is longing for more in life. I have people from all ages. I don't do teens anymore. I did for years and years. That was definitely my avatar. It was actually my son asked if he could have some teen when he was in middle school. Can I have some friends over? I said, oh, honey, I've been around teens all day. And he goes, Mom, you give those kids more attention than you do me.
Ooh.
And I went, bingo, you are so right. I went in and I quit that job.
Aww.
And I went on, that's when I really dove into coaching and working with adults because I needed my energy for my son. And now he's 23 and living at home still. He's not gone off to college.
Yeah, but right now it's listen, right now with COVID, with the way that COVID is, nothing is really written in stone.
Yeah. No.
COVID has taught me to be flexible, to be more patient, to be understanding, to be open-minded, to be adaptable. Because when the pandemic first started and with the COVID, everything that we knew changed, like literally our lifestyle, the way we think, the way that we interacted with each other. And I think now that and now
yes,
I guess because I have to be like during my growing, like my personal growth, emotional growth, physical growth, and everything else, I had to just learn to be, when God shifted me to the next thing and the next shift and the next shift and the next shift and the next shift and the next shift, I had to learn to stay level during the shifts that was taking place. And I realized that, okay, like when I started building the business and I like with the internet issues and technology issues and software issues, and then with the pandemic and then with the podcast. And I remember one time I was trying to speak to a lady and she was in South Africa and I was here and it was storming here. It was storming there. We couldn't get any internet connection, so we couldn't even really talk to each other. And I'm saying to myself, like, is it me? And then I realized that it, like, okay, the way things are now is just shit happens. Oh, can I say that?
It's your show, girl. You can say it
and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, you know, I do work with other coaches because it is important to have, and what I offer other coaches is the spiritual component of how to create that lasting result. And I do that in many ways. You can go to my site and see Mastering the Art of Life, go to the different things I offer. I have a group program. I do individual work. I have a course coming up in January that I'm going to be doing. Actually, I have two things that I'm doing. One is I will be doing a book study for 4 weeks on the book, Beyond the Box. And the other thing is I actually do a symposium at least once a year with 2 other women that it's called Your Next Act, and it's for anybody that's looking at kind of what is your next act. And that one does EFT and matrix work, and the other one is a spiritual component, but a financial coach. You may know her, Susan Schloss.
No, I know Susan Axelrod.
Susan Schloss and Marjorie Fazuzzi, and both of them are in Katarina's community. So,
Really?
yeah.
Wait a minute. The name sounds familiar. Let me just write this down. Susan, spell her last name.
Schloss.
I haven't spoken to her as yet.
Yeah. And then Marjorie Fazuzzi is the other person. And so we actually take people through the designing process, the critiquing process, and what you do to let it go, and the creating process. And we do that through our expertise. And it's a 2-day symposium, and we make an offer at the end of—
When is it?
It's the 16th and 17th. It's actually a Sunday,
December?
Monday of January. No, Monday of January. And then what we do is we actually offer, Katarina, the first time she came, she bought our package, because it's actually all 3 of us in an amazing package that we offer at the end of that symposium that just can't, like Katarina said, I can't turn it.
Yeah. Okay, then. So why don't we do this? I'll be doing this for 12 days, but I know that people are scheduling to join for the week of the 14th, the 18th, and the 20th. I'm like, okay, then. So this is going to run for the entire month of December. Come back again. Okay, schedule another time, and schedule another, set another appointment. I have to just, like certain words, I just have to rearrange it. Set another appointment and to come back, and then you can, we can chat again, because I need to pick your brain some more.
Okay, I love it. It's been really lovely, Jennifer. You need to go get some rest and to get off of the computer.
Oh my God, yay!
Okay. Have a sweet night tonight, okay? And
you too, Christi.
Sleep well.
Honor and respect. Honor and respect. Thank you so much, Christi. Thank you very much for spending the time and just chatting with me and putting a smile on my face. I think I laughed like all day long.
Well, you have a wonderful laugh, so I'm glad that you shared it with everybody.
I think it's good medicine. It's good medicine. And we can dive deeper into your book of let me see now. Getting out of the box, beyond the box.
Not even we're just letting the box go. Beyond.
Listen, beyond the box, and the science of getting rich. Now, have you read Napoleon Hill's book at all?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We can discuss that too, because I like Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. I do
okay.
teach from his work as well, but I actually like Wallace Wattles. So
that's his name, Wallace.
Wallace Wattles, WATTLES.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, yeah. And you can actually download a free PDF off the internet. I like the book because I use it a lot. So okay.
As a reference, right?
Yes. All your peeps. Thank you for listening, and Jennifer for inviting me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Christi. And you're welcome back anytime. Come back anytime. And I really enjoy speaking with you. And we'll chat again. And are you going to be at the event that Katarina is doing?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
What is it? The 6th, 7th, and 8th?
Yeah.
Or the 4th, 5th, and 6th or something? That's this weekend.
Yeah, it's coming up. Thursday is her planning day, and then Friday and Saturday is the event. Yes.
Okay, then.
Are you there? Have you gotten your tiara?
No.
Did you sign up with her?
Mm-hmm.
and you need to let her know you didn't get your tiara in your box. There's a whole box of goodies that you get.
Really?
Yeah. You better let her know. They gotta
I'll check.
expect it to you. Yeah.
I'll check, and maybe I should check downstairs in the lobby. I've been in the house for a couple of days. I haven't been downstairs yet at all.
That might be it.
Listen, thank you, and we'll chat again. Okay.
Okay.
Have a good night, Christi.
Thanks, you too. Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
You.